We're going to transfer into some C8 news. The first three pieces here have been about downers and destruction and, coronavirus and racists and world's a crazy place. Let's talk about some positive stuff. We have some C8 Corvette news. And guys, this platform I'm just happy to be alive today, in the car community, because there were some probably boring years here and there, And while 2020 is an otherwise disaster of a year, we have the new GT500, which is awesome. I'm a Chevy fan at heart. GT500 is an amazing machine, though. Just listening to the audio from one of those things sends a chill down my spine. We have the revival of the Supra, which some people are calling it a BMW. That's okay, though. I think it's pretty cool that we even have a Supra back. Again, all about that gratitude. Be grateful. Give feedback. Maybe they'll change it up a little bit. I think even where it is right now, it's not a bad modern rendition of the legend, the Supra. And then we obviously have, groundbreaking news. Obviously not new groundbreaking news, but the groundbreaking news of Chevrolet finally deciding that they want to go mid-engine with their Corvette. And, man, this thing seems to have been making some serious waves, and nobody ever thought this was going to be happening, right? We all thought every generation they've been yep, Corvette's finally going mid-engine, and then it never happens. And there was a lot of speculation again, and I kind of just thought it was a bunch of BS, but lo and behold, here they are. They're coming out. They're great. And the cool thing about cars today is that they are very quickly modified. They're out of the box, and these companies already have their hands on them. They're already modifying them. They have a twin-turbo car, which is the first thing on our list of things to talk about here. And with the internet bringing everybody closer together and being able to see everything, the competition is a lot higher, which I'm sure really stresses out these manufacturers and aftermarket companies, etc. But, it brings better products to market in a quicker fashion. Just like the C8's been out for maybe a couple months, and there's already a twin turbo car from Hennessey. Anyways, I just wanted to give you guys a quick clip. I had to include this in a segment talking about the C8. Just listen to this thing. Keep in mind, too, that it's not tuned yet. I think they went 1060 with the car on nitrous, untuned. GM locks up the computers. They don't want people touching them because they don't want their cars blown up, I guess, for having to pay out on warranties. And they don't want it to look like their cars are blowing up because tuners don't know what they're doing. So there is no tuning software yet. So this is an untuned C8. Just watch and listen for a brief second here while we hear and see what Hennessey has come up with as far as a twin-turbo Corvette, guys. You're going to love this one. Tell me that's not awesome. The thing about, there's different cars that have their own sounds. The Mustang, I think, has a very unique, a lot of Mustangs do sound similar, but a lot of Corvettes sound similar too. And they have their own unique sound. And I'm a fan of the way that Mustangs sound. And I like the Corvette. I guess it's because, combination of, probably not, because a lot of times you can tell. Sorry, I'm just running through this concept in my head. I'm just spitting out gibberish. Let me start over. The Corvette and the Mustang have their unique sounds. I like each of them, right? And then the Corvette has this, I think that because of the routing of the exhaust, it's so tight and then it goes over the axle. I think that's what gives it its unique sound. And then this one is obviously different. It's something we're completely not used to, throwing that twin turbo whistle. And I just, the note from this thing is incredibly awesome. I'm so excited, man, to see where they go with this thing. Granted, this is only a couple months in production, and we haven't seen any higher trim levels yet. This is a base model car, which, by the way, they're also looking pretty badass when they get lowered and wheels are on them and all kinds of stuff like that. The second topic of discussion, actually, when it comes to this platform, actually has to do with the fact that this is the base model. So normally we're used to seeing Grand Sport, Z06, ZR1. There's going to be allegedly another top tier version of the Corvette C8. Storied to be the C8 Zora. And there are 3 terms. By the way, this was a leak reported by Haggerty, very, very reliable source. So you get these leaks all the time and you don't know what's going to happen with them, but this was reported by Haggerty, so it could be legit. But they're said to have, they're said to be coming out with the C8 Zora. 3 different phrases are going to sum this thing up very nicely. Number 1, 1,000 horsepower, right? Big deal from the factory. Awesome. Number 2, all-wheel drive. Another thing that I have been pleading for in an American muscle car for a long time. And number 3, hybrid, which not typical, but is typical, right? It's a typical in the supercar world. A lot of supercar companies have been doing it. So let's break into these and dive into them and talk about them a little bit. Number 1, 1,000 horsepower. Not much to say there. 1,000 horsepower is 1,000 horsepower. It's a lot of power. Power to weight ratio is a big deal. That's a lot of power. There's not a lot of weight. I don't know exactly what the C8 weighs. I assume it's probably under 3,600 pounds. Probably even lighter than that. That's probably a little bit high. But from there, we move to all-wheel drive. And this is something like the hybrid power. We'll get to the all-wheel drive last because I think that's the most exciting. The hybrid power is going to essentially, for those who aren't super familiar, we have on one end of the spectrum like these combustion cars that make a ton of power and they have a ton of trap speed, like in a drag racing situation. So they'll be faster up top, but it's getting very hard to compete with the electric power off the line because electric power is consistent. It's all the power exactly how you need it out there. It'll get it out. The torque curve, you can make it whatever you want pretty much. Someone in engineering is probably going to correct me on that, but essentially you can get all the power to the wheels without having to worry about it bogging down and things like that. So this is why Teslas are so quick without trap speed. They're not going too fast when they get to like the quarter mile, say, but they get out of the hole so quickly and efficiently and consistently with their all-wheel drive combinations that it doesn't matter. They're still running 10s, even though it might be at like 110 or 112 or whatever it is. So then you take that and you combine it with all-wheel drive, which, like, back in the day, growing up, like, one of my first real muscle cars, I guess you'd call it a real muscle car, I had the 2005 GTO. A lot of people who've been around for a while probably remember that car. And the thing is, like, when I had that car, the other cool cars in the community were, like, some guys had Evos or Subarus or, other DSM cars, Then, the GTR eventually made its way out. And all these awesome imports had all-wheel drive capabilities. And then you start looking at cars like, Audi. Like, Audis are ridiculous, guys. For those of us here in the American car community who don't really kind of like, I didn't really follow along with that kind of stuff. But you get these, I'm going to butcher this one. I think they're RS8s, the big one, like the big boy, like the sedan, like heavyweight Audi, right? All-wheel drive, a little bit of tuning, a couple of bolt-ons, and they're ridiculous. I remember when I had my Z06, I got clapped up by one of those things on the streets. And the guy was like real cocky about it, but I was kind of like, I probably would be too. Because we pulled back in the parking lot, and my Corvette spins like an MFer on blacktop, right? But this Audi sticks like shit on a blanket. And we pull back in, he's like, yeah, I have my cool cup holders on too, keeping my drinks nice and chilly. And I'm like, dude, I hate you. But that's pretty cool. So, long story short, all-wheel drive and electric capability down low to get the Corvette out of the hole and then to have it followed through with 1,000 horsepower on the big end where it can really get a head of steam going. This thing is going to be nasty. And I assume that the issue probably has been, sorry about that the issue has probably always been, all this torque with American cars, instantaneous torque instead of the small displacement engines that these imports have with their turbos that take a little bit of time to get into the power band. With these American cars, it's just instantaneous power. I assume it probably would have been very expensive to combine that with an efficient all-wheel drive system and bring it out and have people willing to pay that much more money to make something like that. But I thought it would have been very cool, and we're finally going to get to see it with the Zora if it comes through to fruition. And if Corvette can keep up the bang for your buck platform that they have been living off of and kind of competing with these top-end supercars for so long on a budget, it's going to be nasty. it's going to be something that I really want to buy. And if they come out again with the CTS-V with the similar thing, you could put my name on it. Like, you could almost put my name on the Zora. It sounds very awesome, but if they do that in a V platform, like an all-wheel drive 1,000 horsepower hybrid CTS-V, like, just take me now. Like, I just need to buy one of those and I'm done. Then you can just kill me. I'm done because it's awesome. Anyways, our last piece of C8 news that I found interesting from around the community, potentially one of the most viral stories, builds. If I were to guess about the most viral builds of the upcoming year, it would probably be Rob Dahm's 2020 Corvette that he will be engine swapping. And if you guys have followed along with Rob Dahm's channel, he does a lot of rotary stuff. And he built that wicked, what was it, a 4-rotor RX-7. He built a rotary swap C5, which really pissed off the Corvette community. I thought it was a pretty cool build. And in his latest build, he has some viral potential in a rotary swapped, I'm going to pull it up here, rotary swapped C8 Corvette. And it just seems like it really has all the makings of the next big thing on YouTube. So I wanted to take a minute just to point this out to you guys. You know, and I don't know Rob personally, but it just seems like from watching some of his content that he's really thorough and interested in creating the best product. So something like this, I'm just excited to see what this is going to come out to be. And it seems like a build that's going to be interesting to watch. So I just wanted to point it out to you guys. And it seems to have all of the makings to really be something that's worth watching. You know, not that I'm, you know, whatever, is what it is. That segment sounded weird coming out, but I think it'll be a cool build to watch. You know, the thing I wanted to kind of bring up here is the interesting topic of how people get upset about these kind of builds, right? They go, oh, it's a Corvette and you're rotary swapping it or you're Ford swapping it, or like Mustang guys. Like, dude, you guys can be the worst about this. Like, they get upset about LS swaps and Mustangs. Even if it's like a Fox body, like not even a nice Fox body, it'll be like a crappy old, like rusting into the ground Fox body, and be like, oh, you should have kept the original motor in her because now it's a goddamn blasphemy. Goddamn, I kissed my sister. But people get all upset about it, and people, I think that I remember reading a good amount of upset comments about Rob swapping a C5 Corvette. Like, guys, these C5 Corvettes are pennies on the dollar. Like, it's not like it's a rare car. Even the C8, it was a wrecked C8. People were probably going to get all up in arms about this too. But it's like, it's just a weird phenomenon how people get upset about cars that they don't own, right? Especially very common cars like this. I mean, maybe if it was like a rare collector's version, I could see it. But it's like, I don't know, man. It's not your money. You're not losing money. You're not like, you know, the car is what it is. And then just to get upset about that is really weird to me. I don't know. Maybe you guys can shed some light on that for me in the comments section, because I'm excited to see this. And I'm actually excited to see the controversy too. Like, everybody's attracted to a good old-fashioned train wreck, and I feel like the comments section is going to deliver that with this one.
Are you listening? Damn.